Maelle is the wild card of the bunch. She can be played as the tank or the heavy damage dealer, depending on how you outfit her. Each of her abilities changes stances, which, depending on her stance, gives her special perks. I'm gonna say stance a lot, don't worry about it. She starts battles in her basic stanceless stance. No bonuses or penalties are given in this stance. Using any of her abilities switches her to a different stance. In offensive stance, all of her attacks do 50% more damage, but Maelle also takes 50% more damage. Use this stance if you feel confident in your dodging and parrying abilities. I usually use this offensive stance as a segue into my following attacks. In defensive stance, Maelle takes 50% less damage, and each parry and dodge gives her one more action point. Use this stance if you need the extra action points, or if Maelle is close to death, as she will take far less damage from enemy attacks. Combining this with her Sciel abilities can reduce her damage taken even further. Virtuous stance is her most powerful stance, as being in this stance gives Maelle an increased 200% increase in damage with no downsides. Difficult to activate at first, but when in Virtuous stance, any of her other abilities is given the 200% increase in damage. So combining her abilities like Spark and Swift Stride will switch her into Virtuous stance. Then, using something like Fleur Fury, yes, I had to look it up to pronounce that, will significantly increase her damage and keep her in Virtuous stance. Most of Maelle's weapons give bonuses depending on which stance she's in. Sciel was confusing for me at first, but her most powerful way of play is in boss battles. Sciel's Sun abilities can apply Foretell on enemies with a maximum of 10 stacks, giving 1 Sun charge. Using her Moon abilities, use that Foretell to increase the damage depending on how many stacks are on the enemy, giving her 1 Moon charge. You're free to use either in whatever order you want. However, using at least one of the opposing charge will set Sciel into Twilight on her next turn. In Twilight, Sun abilities double the amount of Foretell, with the maximum increased to 20, and her damage is increased depending on the amount of charges that you have consumed before entering Twilight. So let's say you have 1 Sun charge, and you use 1 Moon ability, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. That will enter you into Twilight, and give you a plus 50% increase in damage, as well as the other effects. The more charges that are consumed, the more damage Sciel will do in Twilight. So you can essentially stack this as high as you want and enter Twilight with an insane increase of damage of like 300%. That is why I prefer using her in boss fights, since they last the longest, which gives you more time to stack more and more charges. Many of Sciel's weapons complement playing with only Sun charges or only Moon charges, or give you an extreme bonus in Twilight.